What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for your second Tottenham update of the day. We've got a done deal and we've got an advanced deal to talk about. Let's start off with the done deal. As Spurs have announced today that they are delighted to announce that Brandon Austin has signed a new contract with the club, which will run until 2029, a 5-year deal for the academy graduate, which is Brandon Austin, which we just did a keep, loan or sell. We argued whether we should keep him, whether we should sell him with 1 year left in his deal. Well, with his deal running out this summer, 5-year deal, quite amazing, to be honest.
I'm shocked, to be honest, because he's 25. I don't think he's ever made a senior appearance for Tottenham, and you would have thought, he probably wants for his own career to be finding a new place so he can actually play some football. But he's clearly happy to be where he is, and maybe from Tottenham's point of view, I think he's a homegrown player. He helps with that quota, similar to Scott Carson and Rob Green, their kind of roles, kind of in the squad, just to kind of for quota purposes. I don't think he's ever really going to get a look in. Maybe Tottenham are saying he's going to be our backup keeper now, but I also think it's more likely he's just going to be third choice. But I'm surprised that it's more on Austin's point of view that he's willing to sign such a long deal at a club where he never doesn't look like he's ever going to get a look in. Or maybe he's been told something that we're not privy to, that he is going to get more of a chance in terms of being back up, or maybe he's been told next season with extra games he might get a few appearances.
Yeah, Ali Gold a couple of months ago did say that there were talks underway, and they weren't quite impressed with what they've seen in training from Brandon Austin. With Fraser Forster going into his last year of his contract, whether they get rid of him or whether they sell him or keep him, I mean, I think this signals to me that Brandon Austin is going to be our backup for the next couple of years at least. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if he is our backup, if he gets the cup games, if he gets the Europa League games and stuff like that. I kind of would suggest against it, and just to keep Vicario as your number one for all these competitions. But if there's an injury that comes about, maybe Brandon Austin will be between the six, because you're looking at Fraser Forster now. When he did come in, not last season, not the season just gone, but the season before, I mean, it did seem like you just put it low and hard to either side of him. It'll take him a year to get down, and maybe that's 2 years ago now. So, what's he going to be like now after a long injury too?
Yeah, you'd think that. So, yeah, it's quite surprising, but if that's the club's decide, I'm not that against it, and I think there's a few positives to it. So, congratulations to Brandon, and I really hope that maybe he gets some opportunities now.
Yeah, let's wait and see what happens. But now the big story of the day, Timo Werner. Fabrizio Romano gave us an exclusive saying that Tottenham advance in talks to keep Timo Werner at the club for one more season, extending loan from RB Leipzig. New loan deal will be valid from July 24 to June 25. The same conditions of the loan deal agreed in January. Werner now expected to stay at Tottenham Hotspur. Alistair Gold says, as per Fabrizio Romano, Spurs are in talks to extend Timo Werner's loan spell at the club by another season. Postecoglou likes the German attacker as part of a bigger squad needed next season with Europa League football. He's experienced and can cover a few positions. And Florian Plettenberg says that Tottenham very open to extend the loan of 28-year-old striker from RB Leipzig. Spurs pushing for a new loan deal as per Fabrizio Romano. We've been told that Tottenham is not considering activating the buy option in the range of 17 to 18 million euros. Complicated situation, but both clubs want to find a top and fast resolution for Timo. Contract with Leipzig is valid until 2026. Werner would be very happy to stay at Tottenham Hotspur, which looks like is happening for at least another year. Initial reactions to this is quite disappointing for me. I thought we were kind of going to be moving on from Timo and trying to get better options on the flanks, which seems to me Timo Werner staying at Spurs means, I hope it doesn't mean this, but it seems to me that we are going to be going in with the same left-wing options as we were in this previous season. And we all know that the striking option of the forward line was not good enough this season. Ange mentioned it a couple of times. So hopefully we do get upgrades somewhere across the front line, but as it stands, doesn't look like it's going to be at left wing.
Well, Ali Gold added on to his tweet saying, personally, I see this deal as an experienced squad replacement for Bryan Hill. That doesn't affect the transfer budget, so Spurs can then sign another winger to replace Ivan Perisic and also a striker for those attacking slots. And if we are committed to still signing another winger and a striker, then I'm willing to reserve judgment on this particular deal for now, and wait to see who else we bring in before I say this is a bad deal. I think for me, Werner has proven to be a fairly functional a player in this kind of system, and I'm sure in the Europa League he can have his benefits. I'm sure he can do a good job in Europa League on Thursday nights when he's filling in. I think that's a competition he should be well adept to. But when it comes to Spurs taking themselves to the next level and really wanting to push themselves, not just for a top 4 challenge, but anything beyond that, then having Timo Werner as your main left winger going into the season is going to be a bit of a worry, because we know that he's got good qualities, but when it comes to his technical ability, he is lacking. We've seen that his finishing in front of goal isn't great. He's decent when he gets to the byline and does that low-driven cross across the face of goal, but other than that, he struggles to really impact games. Sometimes he can be a bit anonymous occasionally. I don't think he had a bad loan spell, but I think he did a good job for what he was required to do, which was literally fill in for Sonny for 6 months. As a player who was willing to do that, I think he did a decent job. But if that was an audition for a long-term future at Spurs, then I wouldn't say he passed it. I wouldn't say he failed it necessarily, but I wouldn't say I was convinced by what I saw in those 6 months. What I would say is, if we were to keep him on, which it looks like we are, I think a loan definitely makes a lot more sense than signing him permanently, because if he does have an amazing year, then you can push the button on the permanent. But as well, if you sign him permanently now and he doesn't do well, you're stuck with a problem. So I think a loan deal probably does make sense on that part. And maybe the fact that we're not in Champions League and we don't have that little bit extra money to spend right now, maybe saving a bit of money in the short term, having Timo Werner for another season, and then hopefully next season we're in a better position to spend a bit more money and we can make a decision to not keep Werner on and really splash out. Maybe that's what they're thinking, but that's not what Tottenham fans want to hear when we're looking to backhand Postecoglou this summer, take ourselves to the next level, and not just be perennially, challenging for top 4 and be in that kind of race. We want something more than that.
Yeah, but you know what? This just seems like deals that we've done over and over again over the past few years. What happened to this stadium being a game changer in terms of trying to fight with the best? We're looking to take this project onto a new level. And seemingly, I don't know what the plans are for the rest of the window. And if their plans are to get another winger and to get a number 9 and to really replenish this forward line, then yeah, maybe I can accept it. But it's just a big source of frustration for me. I was up for keeping Timo Werner at some stage during his loan spell, but it came apparent to me that he's just not good enough for what we want to do. He's a very frustrating player to watch. Finishing ability is really frustrating to see. But look, he did serve a purpose here for the time that he was here. When he was injured for the latter stage of the season, it did seem like all creativity just went completely out the window. So that's a positive to his name, seeing as when he was on the pitch, we did seem to create a bit more. But we need better. We need better. And if we go into next season with Werner and Sonny being our only left winger options, I don't think that's good enough to take us through to all competitions.
Yeah, as I say, I'm willing to reserve judgment on who else we sign. But if it comes to the window and there hasn't been significant investment on the wing, and we at the end of the window we're sitting here saying, and the club are saying, look, we did sign a winger, we got Timo Werner on loaning him, I'm going to be like, no, that's not enough. Yeah. But the window hasn't even opened yet, so I'm not going to start going fully in yet. But definitely, my eyes are definitely on what's happening.
Yeah, and I think we had to make a decision on Timo before the Euros, right? We're a month before the Euros. Does this maybe signal to you maybe where the club's intent is at going forward if we're already pushing the button on Timo Werner?
In what sense?
In sense of where we're going to make these additions. Like, do you think we're actually going to make another left wing addition from now to the end of the transfer window?
I mean, obviously, Ali Gold didn't even mention Solomon there when he said about Solomon. So I don't know what our intentions are with him. If we're keeping him, it's gonna be hard to justify to those players that we're signing another left wingers. Then we're gonna have 3. We're gonna have Werner, Solomon, and signing another one, and we're gonna have Son. So something's gonna have to give. Solomon's probably gonna have to leave at that point,
unless they do think Sonny's gonna be number 9. I mean, I don't know, like where they think Sonny's at.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope this doesn't mean we're not signing another winger, but
what do you actually think? What's your opinion?
I've got a feeling that it might mean that we're not. But I also think we could still sign a winger that can play on both, a versatile winger who can play on both sides, and doesn't necessarily mean that just because we sign Werner, there's not a need to bring in another winger. But at the moment, with Werner in now, you've got Werner. I mean, at the moment, it's got Werner, Solomon, Kulusevski, Johnson on the right hand side. Sonny can obviously play on the left, but one of them as well is going to have to leave before another one comes in, I'm guessing.
Unless they think Kulusevski is not a winger in the system.
If they think Kulu's not a winger and Sonny's not a winger, all of a sudden you've got just Johnson, Werner and Solomon. Then all of a sudden you need two.
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of depends on where they think Sonny's going to fit in next season. That's what it all depends on.
I still think they sign a winger, but I think it depends. I think Solomon will have to leave.
I really, really, really hope you're right. And we need major upgrades in the front line, as what all sees well, the second half of the season clearly suggested to us. And Postecoglou said it in a number of occasions. The attacking and the forward line's nowhere near where he wants it to be. And it just seems like we're going back to last season. So,
Ange made it clear he wants additions. I don't think we make this signing if Ange wasn't on board with it. So I'm pretty sure Ange is okay with it. But Ange also said he wants major additions in the front line. So he's not going to okay this deal for Werner. He said that while Werner was at the club. So he's not going to okay the deal for Werner if that meant not getting anyone else.
I really hope you're right. I really hope you're right. But this, I mean, I thought this deal was coming ever since Ange did say that the clubs, we're looking to find a resolution. The clubs were in talks and discussions. And now we're here. Timo Werner is going to be here for another season. It looks like we'll wait for official confirmation, which will probably come, I guess, in the next couple of weeks or next couple of days. Who knows? But that is the news right now. Timo Werner is in advanced talks. Well, Spurs and Leipzig are in advanced talks to extend that Timo Werner loan deal for an extra year. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you feel this is a bit of lack of ambition for Spurs? Is this a smart piece of business? Just to cover a few slots for next season. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.